Hi guys, welcome back to this month's edition of Coffee with Scott. My name is Ruby. I'm a summer intern here at ISC Group, and today we're going to be talking about life in and outside of work. So as you can see, Scott is actually not with us today. He's going to be joining us live from his boat in the middle of the ocean.
Hello, welcome to this special edition of Coffee with Scott, live from definitely outside of work. We're on our summer vacation. I'm here with my wife and daughter, and we are in the British Virgin Islands aboard this beautiful sailboat. We are currently on a mooring ball at a place called Nanny Cay, and we're having a great time. I thought it'd be a good thing to talk about work-life balance and life outside of work, because I know that in the investment community, as investment advisors, we're always talking to our clients about that one side of the coin. And that side of the coin is how important it is to save money, save for retirement, save for college, invest for the future. But there's another side of that coin too, and that's, spending what you've got to some level, right? I mean, you definitely don't want to go beyond your means, take vacations on credit cards or whatever. But it's important, to have some kind of a work-life balance and to enjoy yourself along the way at the same time. So that's what I thought we'd do a little bit today, is talk about that and maybe share a little bit about what we're doing down here and how I try to do that. And I'll tell you, here I am on vacation and I'm doing a podcast. And so you might say, well, that's kind of work. And I also will check emails several times throughout the day. But that's just personal preference, because for me, I get happiness from staying in touch with work. I'm trying to keep out of the wind here. And I would go crazy if I came back to the office and I had 2,000 unread emails. So that's balance to me, is getting some things done while I'm actually on vacation, just so I don't have the stress of coming back to 5 days of purging emails. Anyway, so we'll see where this goes, but hopefully it's a fun conversation.
Yeah, I'm excited to kick this off today. So to start off, can you tell us what work-life balance means to you?
So I think, anytime that I'm required to work 100 hours in a week, I absolutely will do it. I put myself through college working 30 plus hours a week while taking a full load. So clearly, I believe in working hard to get, where you're going to go. But I also believe that you've got to take time to find the finer things in life and to, reflect outside of the office. Personal example, I have a very dear friend that passed away last year of cancer. And he was a terrific engineer. Just, you wouldn't want anybody else building your highways or your airports or anything. I mean, he's just a phenomenal guy. But he never did anything for himself. He saved his whole life for retirement, as you might imagine. I would advise him on that. And then tragically, he, came down with cancer, and 4 months later, he was gone. And it just, you reflect on something like that, and you see, well, what was the point? He did a lot of great things. Obviously, he left a tremendous legacy to kids that, he's paying for their college education now, and so forth. But he never got to live for himself. And none of us are promised another day here. And I believe firmly in living every day in the present as much as you can. I know it's hard to do with stress, work, and life, and everything that comes into play. But if there's any way, it doesn't have to be something like this, obviously, but whether, it's going fishing, at the local creek, there's just a million ways you can get away and take time for yourself, your family, be together, and contemplate the bigger things in life, meaning in life, and that kind of thing. And I think that it's super important that we do find a way to have a work-life balance.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's really important to have that work-life balance. Now, a big part of feeling fulfilled in life is being able to do what you love. Can you tell us a little about how you've been able to pursue your passions?
Yeah, I'm really blessed and fortunate to have been working at this company, ISC Group, for 27 years. And, they say if you really enjoy your job, you'll never work a day in your life. And I honestly feel that way. Because we have such a great group of clients that it's a joy coming to work. I love all the people I work with, and that really helps. My prior life, in the early days of my career, I had jobs I didn't like. Of course, everybody goes through that. And my advice there is, stick with it while you're looking for something else. Make the best of it, assuming it's not a toxic environment, of course, or anything like that. But if you find what you love in life and you pursue it, I find you're likely to be successful at it, within reason, right? Everybody, you want to be a rock star, maybe you have all the talent in the world and still don't make it. But realistically, whatever you train for in your job, with your college or trade school or what have you, do it with passion, and you're gonna rise to the top. Your boss will see that passion. It'll help you get promoted along the way. My passion outside of work, as you might guess, I love sailing, and I got into this later in life. It was actually 2007 when we first came down here to the Caribbean and went on a day charter with a couple that had retired in Maryland. They'd owned a bakery up there. They bought a boat and they sailed it from Maryland down to the Caribbean, and their boat name was Bread on the Water, and their dinghy was Crumb on the Water. And anyway, so ran into them by chance in a hotel lobby. Oh, you got to come sailing with us. You're going to love it. We've got this beautiful boat, blah, blah. Long story short, we did, and he let me take the helm, the wheel back there, of this gorgeous Beneteau, and I felt the power of the sails and the wind, and I was like, man, I got to learn how to do this. This is too cool. And so we went back to Dallas and got online and, Googled, learning to sail. And it just so happened that my local sailing club in Grapevine, Texas, they did this thing called the Adult Sailing Seminar. So my wife and I went out to that. We got on a boat. We didn't know what we were doing. Became friends with the people that owned Blue Bayou, and they invited us to come out and go racing with them. We said, what are you, crazy? We don't know what we're doing. We'll make you lose. They said, no, come on, you'll have fun. So we crewed with them. We raced with them. We eventually bought half of the boat with them as partners, which is perfect because they were seasoned sailors and they taught us everything, kind of stem to stern on the boat. Really got into racing. I've since participated in a couple of international regattas. Did the Heineken Regatta in St. Martin right after Irma and Maria, and also sailed at Cowsweek in England for my 50th birthday. So your passions can take you crazy places and hopefully experiences that you had never dreamed of doing before. And so, here we are. We're on this beautiful boat. And today I'm going to sail us 13 miles or so to a place called Bitter End Yacht Club on the island of Virgin Gorda. So, as you can tell, this is just, it's my life. And again, that goes back to work-life balance. When I'm back home having a bad day, it does happen, right? But, start thinking about this and dreaming about your next vacation, whenever that may occur, and, it always gives you something to look forward to.
Yeah, that's really great. Thanks for sharing. However, life is always changing and always throwing curveballs at us. So, what are some ways that you adapt to these challenges that you face in life?
Yeah, so a recent example of a curveball, just leaving the marina a couple of days ago, we were prepared to set sail and noticed we have a generator on this boat, and because it can get quite humid, and if it rains, it can be quite miserable if you don't have air conditioning on board. So, traveling with a relatively small child, 11, we want to have air conditioning on board. And testing the systems, and the ACU in the main saloon wasn't working, so they had to call mechanics out. They called the diver out to clear something that got caught up in the scupper, I guess. And anyway, long story short, we were delayed going out of the harbor by about 4 hours, so I had to change my sail plan. Instead of going to where we're going now, to Virgin Gorda, we ended up at Norman Island, just a short hour-long or so sail away. It's fine, right? Life happens. Nothing in life ever stays constant. It's always changing. And of course, the biggest example that all of us went through with that last couple of years ago was COVID, right? We had to change everything. At work, we were ordered by the governor of Texas to go home, and so we went from a situation where I would tell you we'll probably never ever have virtual employees to now, we can't operate fully autonomously from anywhere in the world, including here. I have my laptop on board and Wi-Fi. So it changed everything, of course. Some of it, like the remote work capabilities, probably for the better. We've got a great staff member that lives in San Antonio. I've met her like 4 times in my life, and it's all good, right? Because it's just the way that it is today, and so we obviously adapted just like everybody else did. I think what you want me to talk about, though, is the biggest way I adapted outside of work. Go figure, imagine it involves a sailing trip. So the boat, Blue Bayou, that we learned to sail on Lake Grapevine. During COVID, there wasn't a lot going on, and came up with this crazy idea. Talked to some of my friends, talked to my former partner in the boat. What if we sailed it to the Caribbean? And the more we talked about it, the more we fell in love with the idea. How cool would it be to have your own boat down in the Caribbean? And that has its own challenges, but so long story short, we put it on a trailer and shipped it to Pensacola, Florida. She's a 34.5-foot Hunter monohull sailboat. I had it completely refitted down there with electronics and safety gear. We had these EPIRBs, which is an emergency positioning indicator radio beacon that notifies the Coast Guard if you go down. We had a life raft. We had bolt cutters to cut the mast if, for some reason we became dismasted at sea, and you don't want to something like that. It'd be very dangerous, to say the least. Anyway, so we did it. We sailed almost 2,000 miles from Pensacola, Florida. We took 5 days to get down to Marathon Key. Left the boat there for a month, went back to work, and then came back a month later and sailed it the remaining 1,200 plus miles down to the U.S. Virgin Islands. So that was quite an adaptation, and something I'm pretty proud of. It's maybe the craziest thing I ever did, but it's also a bucket list experience. We'll go into more detail about that.
That's really inspiring.
Cut. Sorry for cutting you off, Ruby. We're going to take a quick intermission. This will conclude part 1 of this video. If you want to see the end of Ruby and Scott's conversation and the conclusion to Scott's COVID sailing voyage, there's going to be a link up here to part 2 of our video. But for now, don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you in part 2.